Bon, still with us? I think just about, yeah. You may have noticed there are a few problems here, so luckily we're in the land of relaxation and yoga because we're all having to take a deep breath, breathe and just relax. The website is having, as you might have noticed, a few problems. We're not sure exactly where it's coming from. It's probably a global conspiracy by all those who want to stop Solar Impulse, or maybe it's just a few technical problems. We're not sure exactly yet, but we are doing all our best to sort it out. The last time we checked, we've got people here in Monaco, Zurich, India, the USA. They're all working on this. The might of Google is getting behind it. And you can get behind it as well. All those people saying, look, what's going on? That is the answer for now. So luckily, I hope that some of you can see me on YouTube. The last time we checked, the YouTube stream was running. And we have a minimal website going. If you are on the site, you can see just down there, that's the Twitter feed. The Twitter feed has been blowing up. As they say, those words were mine, by the way. On NBC News took exactly that phrase, Twitter is blowing up. And that's my new catchphrase now. Very, very busy. And why was it blowing up? Well, we've had a very, very busy day today. First of all, when we took off this morning, we had a delay of almost 2 hours, a little bit under 2 hours. Why? Nothing to do with the plane, nothing to do with the pilot's health. It was entirely due to a piece of paper that was missing. The bureaucracy had not been filled in as was hoped. There was one, I think, little piece of paper that was missing for immigration. And then the air traffic controllers at Ahmedabad International Airport said, well, right, if we haven't got that, you're not coming off the ground. So we had a long wait this morning. André Borschberg was the pilot for that first flight from Ahmedabad. And let's have a look. There we go. That's the scene waiting for him there at Varanasi Airport. And I spoke to him a little earlier because there was such a long delay. He was in the cockpit. He was out of the cockpit. There were some mosquitoes around, which he was trying to avoid, I think, and maybe just trying to stay calm. So when I spoke to him a little earlier in the plane, I asked him, was it stressful or did he have it all under control? Here's what he told me.
I was sure that there would be a solution. Sometimes India is a little bit complicated. The administration, it's maybe not good, it's transparent for us, the way they operate, what they do. But I was sure that everyone will find a solution. So I was not worried. I was comfortable where I was. And the flight was not critical in terms of timing. Sometimes an hour and a half delay can be extremely difficult to manage. But here we could accommodate, so I was not nervous, but of course very happy when we could lift off later on, just after sunrise.
So you were confident in Bertrand's powers of persuasion?
Yeah, I think I was confident in the way things work in India. We have each country has different styles, different way of doing things, and we have to get used to their way, and we have to understand how they do it. And I was sure that the solution would be there.
Now, this flight, André, is one of the easier ones, as you said. And I know you're using these relatively shorter flights to test various systems for the large ocean crossings. And during this flight, you've managed to get in some yoga, some tests for relaxing during those longer flights.
Part of the flight is dedicated to flight test, so we follow precisely what we planned. And the goal is to qualify all the systems from a physical point of view. So it is part of it. Part of it was to prepare for the mission, was training, and it's a little bit exploration. For me, it was a very important leg, and I'm happy for everything I could do. And I think it's slowly building trust in what is waiting for us in the future. Part of it is known and we can be prepared. Part of it is unknown, and of course it will be interesting to discover this. We'll have to be flexible. We'll have to adapt. So that's the state of mind I try to develop these days.
André Borschberg telling us about his Zen state of mind. So despite that long delay in takeoff this morning with the mosquitoes biting and the immigration saying you're not going anywhere, he managed to keep calm. He trusted in the best, trusted in the powers of persuasion of Bertrand Piccard. And whether it was Bertrand or someone else in the team, we don't know yet, but someone managed to keep things calm and get the paper we need and get us off the ground. So as André was saying, a lot was going on in the cockpit. He hasn't been bored during the flight so far, which is expected to be landing in just about under half an hour's time. And the man who can tell us more about the cockpit is Michael McGrath. I'm saying with a French accent now because you've been in Switzerland for so long. Michael McGrath, how's that?
That's better. You butchered it the
Michael
first time
McGrath.
a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah. And you are Canadian,
Yes.
but that's not a problem. We
No,
accept all
no.
nationalities.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a list. I think we've got about 10 nationalities in Solar Impulse so far, unless you can think of any more exotic ones on the way.
Canadian's pretty exotic, I think, here.
I find you extremely exotic, Michael,
Yeah.
and all your compatriots. And you've been based mainly in Dubendorf over the last few years designing this cockpit. And he was talking about the yoga he was doing. So it is bigger. We say it's small. We say it's under 4 meters cubed, but that's a big improvement on the previous cockpit for the first Solar Impulse plane.
Yeah, the cockpit grew. It got bigger. And, well, you were talking about yoga and self-hypnosis earlier, and with André and his flight today. Actually, I just wanted to say that I'm wiped. Following this airplane is exhausting, and you learn to sympathize with the pilots because the airplane's a bit of an energy bully, I like to say. It just keeps climbing, charging energy in its batteries, and you're going down, you're getting tired, trying to keep up. So I think that's kind of the reason why they developed these techniques. You can't sleep all day, so you have to try and keep up and make yourself sustainable. And they use yoga, self-hypnosis, and those are part of the exercise which we allow in the cockpit, and why we made the cockpit bigger, for example.
And part of your job, well, the main job of everyone in Dubendorf is maximum energy for minimum weight.
Exactly.
And that applies to you as well. But also you're working to a very specific brief. You had to design a cockpit that would work for two pilots who have quite different morphologies. They, André's quite bigger than Bertrand, and he's a bit of a wider build as well. So you had to work out, well, what would be the best way to accommodate both these pilots? And tell me a bit about the seat, because the seat is made to be as comfortable as possible for both of them.
Yeah, so you have two different pilots. André's obviously a taller gentleman. They have different habits as well and how they interact with the cockpit. And the seat is the main interface. I mean, they're not leaving the seat throughout the whole flight. And when we're talking about 5 days, that's quite difficult. So we designed the seat to be a bed, so they can recline the seat fully, they can rest. It's also their onboard gym. They can recline it, they can do stretching, yoga exercises, human pretzel, for example. They can stretch their legs, they can turn on their side. They have a lot of flexibility for sleeping as well. It's also housing their emergency equipment. So they have their parachute behind them, their life raft, all of their locator beacons. And then finally, it also has to serve as, a comfortable seat, but a toilet.
All of that in one place. There are some studios in London that remind me a bit of that. Some very expensive studios in London and Paris. So that's probably even more comfortable than those. So how long did it take you, Michael? You've been on this project for a while now. How long did it take you from the first design drawings to where we are now?
I've been with the project for 6 years. The first couple of years we're working on SIA. And then I guess it's probably since late 2010, 2011 when we started to put pen to paper on the cockpit and started to brainstorm, okay, what does it mean to cross an ocean? What do we have to change? And it's been a long journey with a lot of iterations and learnings. So we built mock-ups, we did simulations, we worked a lot with our test pilot, Marcus Schadl, to kind of draw from his experience, create some learnings together, and really understand what are the different situations and scenarios that the pilot's going to face while crossing the Pacific or Atlantic, and how do we manage all of those basic human needs, which were never an issue really in SIA with 20-hour flights.
The pilot is using these so-called shorter flights before the Pacific to test the different systems, to test his relaxation, such as the yoga, and Bertrand Piccard with his self-hypnosis. And I know that that's because some of these modifications took place really right up to the wire. I mean, I saw you in Abu Dhabi before the plane took off, and he was still testing different pieces of equipment. The oxygen system, for example, there were modifications that were being done. So you've really been, all of you, working non-stop to just get this plane flight ready.
Yeah, it's been a big challenge for the whole engineering team and everybody involved in Solar Impulse to get ready to be where we are today. We had some major upgrades on a lot of systems to be able to make possible the Pacific, for example, or the Atlantic, because they're really challenging legs. There are no other aircraft in the world that I know of which fly for 120 hours without a stop, without an ability to maintain or change something. And that's something that we're theoretically capable of doing and that we're going to attempt to do. And you spoke about the oxygen system. That's one of the complex systems we have on board, which is essential for achieving these long flights. If you have a problem with oxygen, you can't do it. You can't go down. You have to fix it at altitude.
Particularly if you're an unpressurized, unheated cockpit. All of that to deal with, a lot of oxygen, lots of food and drink, and lots of instruments, extra instruments from a normal airplane. We've got the solid generators, the batteries, and a very complicated plane to pilot as well.
It's kind of similar to saying that the pilot is going to, for 5 days straight, climb to the top of Everest and then come back down. And he's going to have temperature shifts from 20 degrees when he's in low altitude to minus 20 degrees when he's at high altitude. He's going to be on oxygen for 10 to 12 hours. He's going to be at 30,000 feet almost, and it's taxing on the body. And we restrict the amount of hours that he can sleep. So he's going to be resting in 20-minute intervals. And already 20-minute interval is difficult. And to only maybe have 3 or 4 hours per day, that starts to add up.
But that's only in calm wind. We're assuming that that's 24 hours of calm wind, which never happens. There's always going to be some period where there's going to be a bit of turbulence. So he can't guarantee he'll get all of those rest periods that he wants. Yeah,
exactly. So we're a little bit a slave to the weather. So that's why we have a world-class weather team here who are nonstop evaluating what we're facing, and they've been doing simulations for several years now. And as I understand it, I'm not the expert for the autopilot, but we do need good conditions, and it's demonstrated that it can manage those conditions, but it's having those available when we're at low altitude so that the pilot can recover.
Speaking to Michael McGrath, Cockpit Supremo, that's your official title, isn't it? Cockpit Supremo for SI2, who's making the cockpit as comfortable as it can be, who's staying with us for a couple of days. And well, we're going to have a treat for you in a minute, Michael, because we will be able to show you the best images of the takeoff from this morning. What you're looking at now is live pictures from Varanasi, which is the destination airport. We're expecting landing in around about 35 minutes time from now. This could shift a little bit, but that's the latest we have for you, 35 minutes until landing. So Michael, let's have a look at this. A reminder of what happened this morning when eventually André Borschberg managed to take off from Ahmedabad International Airport. Free to go and do as you please. Thank you very much. Well, that was the best of the images we had from this morning, takeoff from Ahmedabad International Airport to Varanasi, and looking at some of the pictures there from Varanasi Airport. Landing rather, expected in around about half an hour's time. So a little bit delayed. It's about 15 minutes later than we'd been expecting, which is not too bad, given we had to wait over an hour and 40 minutes this morning. So that was our big drama, the big story of the day, or so we thought. that André Borschberg did not have permission to leave Ahmedabad International Airport because there was one bit of paper missing from immigration. Immigration saying, look, we need this stamped, and then air traffic controllers at Ahmedabad saying, well, if we haven't got that piece of paper, you ain't going anywhere. But we did manage to get it sorted out somehow. There was furious negotiation going on behind the scene with members of Solar Impulse, and lots of things going on at Twitter as well. And it wasn't the only story of the day. In fact, after takeoff, we had another problem. Bertrand Piccard, who will be taking charge of leg 4 from Varanasi to Mandalay in Burma tomorrow, didn't have his passport stamped. And that meant that he was unable to take a flight to Varanasi. So he was stuck in Ahmedabad, and there was a long moment where we were thinking, well, what are we going to do now? And again, this situation was sorted out. And partly perhaps thanks to you, to all of those people who were sending messages via Twitter and putting pressure on all parts of Indian society saying, come on guys, let's see if we can get this sorted out. I don't know if it was you, we don't know exactly, but anyway, it was sorted out. The story will come out in due course, but let's remind ourselves of all of that pressure that you, our faithful supporters, put to get this situation resolved. Let's have a look. From the social media sites this morning, the story of Bertrand's passport, and thanks to all of you who put pressure on there. Behind me you can see a live image, that is Solar Impulse. André Borschberg at the controls above Varanasi International Airport in Uttar Pradesh on the banks of the Ganges, and it's a city that André Borschberg knows a lot about as an adept at yoga. One of the holiest cities in India. There are some very holy Hindi and Muslim shrines. And there you go, the first images coming to us from Varanasi International Airport. And we will, of course, give you all the latest as the plane starts to descend and land in around about 25 minutes' time in Varanasi. This is going to be a pit stop, which means that once the aircraft is on the ground, there'll be a short layover. And early tomorrow morning, India time, Bertrand Piccard will take the controls and head off to Mandalay. So it'll be bye-bye India. It's been a pretty extraordinary time. We've had huge amounts of interest in India, thousands and thousands of people queuing up to see the plane in Ahmedabad. And we are hoping to have more of the same once we head over to China. I know the interest in China is already hotting up. There you can go. You can see that extraterrestrial craft there in the air. These images are coming to you from the first images we're getting from Varanasi International Airport. So we will give you more of that as soon as we can. So we were looking a little earlier at some of the content we've been getting from you, our supporters. Lots of photos and tweets and videos coming to us on Twitter. We've got a new addition to the team as well. We've got our own cartoonist. He's called Martin. He comes from Belgium and he's been working non-stop. He has done literally hundreds of pictures for us already, and we think they're pretty good. So let's take a look at some of the best ones he's done so far. It's not really a solar-powered website, by the way, but I'm sure if it was, we'd do it extremely well. We're experiencing a few problems, and you can see this, hopefully, what we're doing live, and you can also see our Twitter feed. But as for all the other functionality that we have developed for the website, it is going to come back on stream, but at the moment, we are expecting a few technical hiccups. And let's see what kind of technical hiccups we've got going now in terms of our pictures of the plane. We are getting a few images coming through now. There you go, it's moving, so that means that it's a proper camera image that we're getting from Varanasi International Airport. Don't know what that is exactly, but it's a very nice picture of a structure. And hopefully we'll have a picture of the plane as well to accompany that at some point. But no, I'm learning a lot about this structure, whatever it is. It's very nice. This is like watching video art. It's great. So I think I've got someone who can tell me what it is? Oh, it's an antenna. Okay, of course it is, yeah. It's pretty crucial for us as well. We are working extremely hard to get you the pictures that you want. So I'll tell you what, it's not easy when you go to different airports and different countries. You're never quite sure what kind of conditions will be awaiting you once you get there. I mean, we're working sometimes we're working off the mobile phone network to bring these pictures to you. They come to Monaco first of all, we process it and send it out around the world. And so far we've managed to get you every takeoff and every landing. We're very proud of that. And we fully expect to have those pictures for you soon. So around about 20 minutes until landing, and that's the estimated arrival time so far. If I get an update on that, I will let you know. Well, we've had huge amounts of press interest since we started the round-the-world flight attempt, even before, in fact. There was a lot of interest in what Solar Impulse was doing. In fact, ever since 2010, when Solar Impulse did its first night flight, the first ever plane. It's still the first plane to be able to fly day and night using only solar energy, carrying a pilot. But it really has ramped up since Abu Dhabi. And I decided to take you through a little press review of some of our best moments on the worldwide media. Let's start with one of the best-known Indian papers, Times of India, which has been going big on Solar Impulse throughout our time in the country. Having exhausted every other angle, the Times of India is now stalking our team, as we can see here. Staying with India, Z News focuses on the delayed takeoff, which we hope was good news for its readers. And we learned that the face of customer service at the company Zendesk is a man with an enormous mouth, no teeth. Now the big one, Swiss publication Le Nouvelliste, Europe's most famous newspaper, more or less. Third leg delayed Wednesday, write the mountain folk, and we can see there's a picture that seems to show that bananas are bad. We're sticking with the Parlez-vous for our friends at Paris Match, who have yet again provided us with a big fat spread of lovely photos. Check out those natty orange flight jackets. Le poids des mots, le chic des photos, as they say. Voila. Stateside now for CNN, who've gone Picard crazy. Not content with the current flights, they've given their viewers a whistle-stop tour of the exploits of the Picard family, from our chairman and founder Bertrand to his father Jacques, who was a deep-sea explorer, and grandfather Auguste, who was the first man in the stratosphere. Congratulations, Wall Street Journal, for that gorgeous video on WSJ Live. Oh, hang on, it's gorgeous because it's our film. Whatever. And finally, well done, BBC, for mentioning the fact that we've broken another record, distance covered by a solar airplane. A big gold star for you. And we'll have more press reviews as we continue on this round-the-world flight attempt. We'll have lots of Chinese papers, I'm sure, so I'm going to have to brush up on my Chinese, or in fact, get a Chinese person to help me. Luckily, we have a couple who are here who are going to do that for me. Let's see if we can turn now to the images of the plane. Wow, it's getting a bit rock and roll out there now. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. We're back looking at the picture of the plane. We saw it for a second. There we go. We're back again. Slowly making its way down. That is André Borschberg at the end of what has been, for anyone else, a pretty grueling flight. He calls it a short one. He says he hasn't got time to do everything he wants to do on these kind of flights that just last around 15, 17 hours. He's already in full 5-day, 5-night mode, I think. That's what he and Bertrand Piccard are preparing for. These grueling legs, non-stop, one pilot, in a cockpit. Now we might lose the plane for a second as it passes behind that enormous commercial airliner. And I've just heard that there will be a landing to see in around about 3 minutes' time. These are live pictures you're seeing of Solar Impulse as it lands at Varanasi International Airport, our last stop in India. We'll be taking off bright and early to head to Mandalay in Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. So less than 3 minutes to go until landing. That's the latest we have. If you've just joined us on our live feed, your timing is good because landing is scheduled for 3 minutes' time.
Interesting because it's quite windy here, and on the ground wind is
Copy.
again I will dock later, so don't worry, it will dock.
Just for information, you have 17 knots headwind.
Yeah, copy. The wind prediction is quite good, as usual. So, Solar Impulse threshold is in sight.
Copy.
From Niels, 2 knots headwind.
Good.
André, Niels, tell me 2 knots headwind on ground.
This is Solar Impulse TV, just awaiting the
Ouais,
imminent landing of André Borschberg in Solar Impulse 2 at Varanasi International Airport for what will be the end of the third leg of this marathon 12-leg round-the-world flight attempt. Leg 4 is going to begin straight after a short stop just to change pilots. Just a few hours later, we will be heading off from Varanasi and leaving India and heading to Mandalay in Myanmar. And once the plane lands, stay with us for a few minutes because we'll get the story of the flight immediately from Raymond Claire, who's the flight director here at Monaco Mission Control. He's going to come out and give us a few words just to tell us how it went and look ahead to tomorrow morning for the second part of this pit stop.
Altitude checked and good.
That will take us to Mandalay.
Thank you. Weatherliner here.
We're now on the final approach at Varanasi
Speed has
International Airport.
ground speed slightly increasing.
Speed, ground speed 16 knots.
Still at 17 knots, huh? Suddenly it will stop.
Affirm.
But it's increasing a little bit.
You're watching live pictures of the final approach of Solar Impulse 2 at Varanasi. Just a few minutes more and André Borschberg will have touchdown on what is our final stop in India.
Copy.
Almost there now, just a few feet off the ground as André Borschberg comes into land. Looking extremely steady. Look at that, hardly any flutter at all.
1 meter. Main wheel down.
I'm just waiting for confirmation. You're looking at live pictures of Solar Impulse 2 landed at Varanasi International Airport with André Borschberg at the controls. Another successful landing. And there won't be much time for the plane to rest because we'll be starting yet again tomorrow straight away for a second pit stop in a row, leaving India with Bertrand Piccard picking up the reins from André. And heading off to Mandalay.
So we can say safe landing now.
There you go, just waiting for the absolute all clear to make sure that our catching crew is there to stabilize the plane. There you go. You can hear the sound of the Mission Control Center. Their release of tension.
9 to go, Togo.
Just stay with us a few more minutes because we're going to get some more reaction from our flight director, André Raymond Claire, to give us the key points, and he's with us already.
Hello.
Hello, Raymond. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Just to give us the key points. So I saw you all looking extremely concentrated in those last few minutes there. But it looked to me like it was a very smooth landing. There wasn't much flutter for the plane.
Smooth landing. Long taxi roll, but it was intentionally so they don't have to pull the aircraft too long. So it took about 1 minute of taxi after the landing until aircraft secured. But it was a very good approach. 360, 1 orbit on downwind, just to be sure that everything was ready. So it was also easy because I think almost no traffic on this airport now. And concentration, of course, this is the moment where the pilot is by his own. I think we cannot help a lot here. We just can see the wind and so on, but he did very well. So it's about 15 hours, no, 13 hours, 15 minutes, something like that.
Right, we'll get the full confirmation of that as soon as we can I'll say via Twitter. I was going to say via the website, but you may have noticed that we're still getting the website back online. Luckily, everything's working well in the plane, and André is in good form as well. But there's no real relaxing for you. I can see that there's a bit of a round of applause, but that we're not cracking open the champagne because already you're thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow morning when Bertrand takes off.
Yeah, it will be first tonight for the briefing. I think we have the briefing in about 7 hours from now with Bertrand. And so it's going to be a very short stop for us. And we are looking forward for the flight tomorrow. I think the aircraft is in very good state. We have full batteries, so most probably no problems for the beginning of the flight tomorrow. And I think tomorrow we'll land in Mandalay.
Yeah, it should be fine. A little bit more complicated than this flight, a little bit longer as well. Some jet streams to avoid, heading south of the Himalayas.
And we would like to go up to flight level 270 to continue some oxygen testing. Today was lower. I think we went up to 170. Tomorrow for Bertrand up to level 270.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Raymond.
27,000 feet. Yeah.
As you say, just a few hours' time, we'll be doing this all over again. So I'll let you get back to that.
Yeah,
and we're going to
thank
stay
you.
now with the images of the plane. And we've got we can take you there now, just to see where we are with the plane. As Raymond said, they taxied a little longer than usual, just so that the ground crew wouldn't have to pull the plane for too long. Because once the plane is on the ground, it has to be helped along by its human helpers, the ground crew.
Was by intention, huh?
So we'll just stay with those pictures now, and a reminder that the next Solar Impulse 2 takeoff for leg 4 will be taking place tomorrow. It's expected to be midnight GMT. And that is 1 a.m. here in Monaco for us at the Mission Control Center and 5:30 a.m. in Varanasi. Now, I should say 6:30 in Mandalay because we have another time zone to contend with now, Myanmar Mean Time, which is GMT plus 6 hours and 30 minutes. So another time zone for me to get my head round.
Copied. And we are also ready for the flight control sweep.
Yes. So, l'avion, il y a un changement de tour, donc pas le de tir avec la taille.
As it should be for the first flight in the future.
Right, okay.
It should be like that.
Okay, everyone, neutral. Full right, neutral. Full left, neutral. Elevator, neutral. Full forward, neutral. Full backwards, neutral.
FLI-Logger, Switcher und der Rest kann er selber machen. Den soll Kolibri und Nano ausschalten.
Das macht er selbst.
Das soll er jetzt machen, das sagst du ihm. Ja, tell him. Und der Rest ist gut. Ja, genau.
Okay, flight control sweep looks good from here, and we would like to switch you off Nano and Colibri logger.
Ja, lass mal kurz. Ganz kurz.
Okay, so Roger. All right. Neutral. Left. Neutral. Okay. We'll call you please, and I will let the guys do this. Let's practice the upgrades. Finish 2.5. will open this. Anything else I can do for you?
FAI-Logger. Muss er noch ausschalten. FAI-Logger ausschalten.
We still need to switch off the FAI logger.
Yeah, wait. I don't have what I did. Ok, ouais. Écoute, j'essaie juste de monter un petit peu du matériel là avant parce que je vais crever de chaud au moins de. Donc, c'est pas fou les mots. Non, c'est pas la fois qu'il faut que je me déshabille quand même. Tac. Tac.
Was für ein Test?
Oui, c'est le déshabillé. Là.
Il n'a quasiment pas fait de holding, donc tu peux prendre la distance de. Exactement. Tu rajoutes les nautiques, elle est belle. D'accord?
Okay, Andre, if you don't need us anymore, we would say goodbye and we send you greetings from Monaco.
All the best. Thank you very much.
Congratulations
Bye.
and greetings from Monaco.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you too.
Ciao,
Thank you.
André.
Et André, super, magnifique, hein? Tu fais pas, tu fais pas trop la fête, tu fais pas trop la fête avec Greg, hein?
Bon, c'est sûr qu'on fait la fête.
Non, parce que j'ai besoin du service permit department demain, parce que on sait pas ce qui va nous tomber sur la tête.
Ouais, c'est sûr.
Parce-
De Dieu.
Raconte,
Hein?
raconte. Tu sais pas tout ce qui s'est passé là aujourd'hui. On t'a pas tout dit encore.
Non?
Tu vas te marrer quoi.
Non, super. Ok, faut que je m'occupe du style avion, là.
Je te laisse. À plus. Ciao, ciao.
And Andre, if you're still on Satcom, well done.
Ok, c'est bon. Ouais. Ok, alors on est parti.
Je suis content là. Toi aussi, hein. Toi aussi. Bravo. Ouais. Non, mais surtout Bertrand, parce que André fait bon. Super. Ah, ça c'est bien.
Taxi, connard.
Ouais, cool.
Je suis en train de faire le taxi.
Ouais.
Je sais pas si t'entends.
Ouais, mais ça, je savais qu'il allait à l'hôtel, mais je pensais qu'il revenait pour la terre. Ok, bravo. Alors, hey, ça, je te félicite. Super.
If you're still with us, you're watching live pictures of Solar Impulse 2 being pulled from its landing position to the part of the airport where it'll be staying the night, a safe position until takeoff tomorrow morning to head off to Mandalay. These are live pictures coming to you from Varanasi International Airport.
C'est possible aujourd'hui, hein? Non, c'est toi? Ouais, tu devrais rentrer. On va dire.
We're just waiting
André, it's
to
Michael.
see
I will
André
pick up the
Borschberg
call, okay?
leave the cockpit
Yes, Michael, thank you
and
very
he'll have a
much.
few words to
Want
say to the
also,
awaiting guests and
make
media once he does so.
Yeah, we have very good guys here doing Capcom, mission engineering. I'm really happy here.
Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. All the best.
Talk to you.
Thank you very much for today. Thank you for the entire team. It was great, really great.
Yes, thank you very much. Ciao, ciao. Enjoy your evening.
Ciao, ciao. C'est plus, ciao, hein.
Legst du auch, machst den Computer aus, fertig. Genau. Das ist eigentlich das.
So we have no more pictures to show you. I think that's it for today. I wanted to just give you the maximum we can of our live pictures from Varanasi International Airport, but there will be more very shortly, just a few hours' time at midnight GMT, 1 a.m. here in Monaco and 5:30 a.m. tomorrow in India. You will see leg 4, the next leg of this round-the-world flight attempt from Varanasi International Airport to Mandalay, a new country, a new adventure. We're heading to Myanmar. Have a great evening, and we'll see you soon here on Solar Impulse TV Live.